Hey everyone, this is Andrew from Gardening and Goldfish. In this video, I'll explain why we decided to start organic gardening, how we built the different parts of our garden, and highlight some of the improvements we've made over the last 4 years. Way back in 2010, I made the decision to stop eating foods with added sugars and chemicals. Seriously, no sugar for 8 years. The no sugar part only applies to me, not my wife, but that still meant buying a lot of organic fruits and vegetables from the grocery store. So 4 years ago, Teresa and I decided that we wanted to start supplementing the foods we were buying with whatever fruits and vegetables we could easily grow ourselves. We thought about starting small, like most gardening books recommend, but decided, life is short, let's just go for it. We have a lot of clay in our Indianapolis backyard that will get standing water after heavy rains, so it was pretty clear that if we wanted to have a serious garden, we were going to need to build up at least 6 to 8 inches of new soil. We looked into creating keyhole-style structures, a nice winding garden path, or lots of square-foot gardening-style raised beds. But since we foster dogs, we wanted to keep as much of our yard as clear as possible and have the garden be easily blocked off with a short fence. We have a 6-foot-tall wooden fence on the north and west side of our property and decided to build up our soil right along it. I bought some extra fence boards and laid them down horizontally along the fence to protect it. Next, I bought a ton of linkable bricks to form the front barrier 4 feet from the back. I wanted something that would be very long-lasting, require little to no maintenance, and could be stepped on and be moved around easily. One of our neighbors was in the process of moving and conveniently had some big cardboard sheets that we were able to put down to make sure we killed off any grass and weeds. Because we added so much dirt, we probably could have skipped this step. But hey, more food for the worms, I guess. After a lot of research, we had a local company bring us a truck full of 8 cubic yards of what they described as a combination of black topsoil, sand, brown topsoil, and compost. It cost around $375, and we're pretty sure it will prove to be a good investment. They deposited the 18,000 pounds of dirt to our side yard. With trusty shovel and wheelbarrow and 4 days of work, our main garden was ready to go. We ended up with an 80-foot long, L-shaped main garden area. We divided it into sections 5 feet long and placed a rubber mat in the middle of each section. This is the only place in the garden we ever step on, so we never pack down the soil, but can easily reach any place from them. So far, they've worked very well. We put down weed fabric and made a 3-foot wide cedar woodchip path with a 2-foot tall fence. At each end of our main garden, we have a flower section to attract beneficial insects to help us with pest control. This is an organic garden after all. It's actually very interesting watching ladybugs, dragonflies, and other predatory insects buzzing around our plants looking for bugs to eat. We also planted specific flower species to attract and grow monarch and swallowtail butterflies, just for fun. They've added a lot of interest to our garden and are also a big draw for several species of bees. We wanted to have fruit bushes spaced along the west side of the garden, but with a convenient way to harvest them from all sides. This area gets more shade from our neighbors' trees, but seems to do just fine growing blackberries and raspberries. We ended up using the same bricks, but stacked them a little higher to make 6 planters for our fruit bushes. In our 3rd year, we connected 4 of the planters into 2 larger ones by just adding a few more bricks and dirt. We plan to let the raspberries grow into the new section rather than buying or transplanting new plants. For the 3rd part of our garden, I made 4 2x6 foot long boxes to go on the deck. I used untreated wood and added some linseed oil to hopefully give them a few more years of use. As you can see, our ancient deck needs to be replaced soon, so it's kind of a contest to see which will last the longest. I have to say, as a 6-foot tall man, it's a very convenient way to garden. Unlike the main garden, we use the Mel's Mix combo of compost, peat moss, and vermiculite for the boxes. The soil is much more friable than our main garden, but obviously more susceptible to drying out. Each time we've added a new crop to our garden, we plant them in both our main and deck garden to see where they will grow the best. Crops like tomatoes, sweet potatoes, and pinto beans have done very well on the deck, while herbs, peppers, and kale have done much better in the main garden. In our 4th year, We added 5 20-gallon cloth bags to see how potatoes would grow on our deck. We'll probably add more for next year if they work out as well as they seem to be so far. We have a compost pile and an outdoor worm bin that's dramatically decreased the amount of trash we throw out. After some research, we decided to use plastic geobins for both our compost pile and worm bin. We'll use 2 for the compost pile so we can periodically turn over all the garden debris, coffee grounds, and shredded leaves to get enough hot composting to kill off any weed seeds. We dump the thicker stems and sticks into a separate bin and just let it slowly compost without turning it over. Our worm bin gets all of our kitchen scraps, shredded junk mail and cardboard, and floating plants we cull from the aquarium each week. We also have a very popular bird bath that we can see from our kitchen window. Watering it in our garden is done with a 100-foot hose using a rain wand, as well as a couple of plastic watering cans. At some point, we might do some rainwater harvesting, but here in Indianapolis, watering isn't really a problem at the moment. We also get an endless supply of mint growing next to the shrubbery in our front yard. Our goal in all this was to create a sustainable garden that would be fairly easy and enjoyable to maintain throughout the year. We were fine with initially buying soil, plants, and seeds, and doing a lot of research and hard work to get everything started. But over time, we wanted to develop a setup that would require fewer and fewer inputs on our part. So far, that plan has worked pretty well, and all in all, we are very pleased with how things have turned out. Well, that's the story of how and why we started our organic garden. Hope you enjoyed it, and let us know what you think. Happy gardening!